8th November, Bhagavad Gita Overview, Chapter 1, verse 31 onwards. So we'll begin with that, guys. Page number 1, Introduction. Are you reading from the beginning? No, the prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. Page number 2. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are at chapter 1. At chapter 1, we finished this section of first 12 verses where there were conversation between Dhritarashtra and his secretary Sanjay, right, and Duryodhan and his guru Dronacharya. Right? After entire this whole episode, we understand the predicament of the minds of both these people, these personalities, that is Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan. So this sets the scene of Mahabharata, and then that's how we move forward. Moving forward, we hear some ominous results, some things which make the Pandava side very obvious, including the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, called as Madhav or Madhusudan, different names that Arjuna is using for Krishna. His own presence makes it very obvious that the Pandavas are going to be victorious, plus the conch shell, the flag bearing Hanuman, the special chariot which was gifted by Agni, along with the 5 special horses. And then when each one blows the conch shell, what is the result on the side of the Kauravas? Their hearts are shattered, right? And plus I was describing some more things from Mahabharata, the episode of Mahabharata. And then moving forward, we have few more things. We see how Arjun asks Krishna to go to the center of the battlefield. And Krishna, like a menial driver, he takes him to the center of the battlefield. Where does he take him? First of all, he tells them there's no one new here. There are only Kurus here. There's nobody new. And the second thing he points out is Bhishma and Drona. Right in front of Arjun's weak spot in his heart is Bhishma and Drona. And he takes them right there. And he says, behold Partha, there are only Kurus here, there's nobody new. Right? And then Arjun starts thinking. That's how we come to the point of bewilderment. The 3 verses, 28, 29 and the 30th verse that we saw last class. That was last to last Friday, because last Thursday, because we didn't have class last Thursday. So what do we see? He says, I'm not sure. So I'll just read 28, 29, 30th translation so that we can start our last section, which is pretty big, the turning point. He gives a few doubts. You need a Bhagavad Gita? Just give me 1 minute. Please come. Oh, I don't have my phone here. I lost it.
You take my phone.
No, I'll have to call Yuka. I need a few things.
Yeah, Yuka, I'll dial and give you.
No, that's fine. I'll just come. Can we read the 3 translations? I hope I'll be back till then. 28th translation, 29th I'm just getting, and the 30th one. I'll give you a new one. I've given you. Oh yeah, you started with us and then you gave. Yes. On the battlefield. Page. Text number 28 is what I'm describing right now. Chapter 1, text 28, verse 28. I think in the big book it is 51. Thanks. Can we start?
Yeah.
Last Thursday we didn't have class, Torah. Last Thursday we didn't have class. Before that we had. Before that I'm sure we had. Done? We'll start? So 28th verse, Arjuna is saying, who is he seeing in the battlefield? My relatives. Yeah, and then in the previous shlokas it's described how he sees his maternal uncles and grandsons and grandchildren and so many of them. Yeah, all of them are arrayed on the battlefield, and it's not just some political debate. This is a fight where you have to kill each other, slash each other, cut each other. Right? So it's extremely difficult for Arjun to cross this whole boat. Right? Now he's a Kshatriya, not that he's a coward. Right? A lot of people might think that, oh, Arjun dar gaya. It is not that. It's not that he's scared. Because just previously, it was just a couple of months back, where they were hiding in the 13th year. They were hiding. Right? It was incognito. The 13th year was supposed to be, they were supposed to hide. And all of them, all the 5 Pandavas plus Draupadi was at Virat Desh. It's kind of North India. And at Virat Desh they were hiding. Then on the last day, when the Tithi of exact 13th year was over, the Kauravas happened to attack Virat Desh. Now how did they find out that they were hiding there? Of course Duryodhan had his spies all over the year, but at the end of the year finally they found out that, oh, they might be in Virat Desh. Because when this... no, in fact they had an economical survey. What Duryodhan was extremely smart. He was not a fool. He had a kind of economical survey done of which praja or which particular kingdom is doing exceptionally well in the last few months, and he found out that Virat Desh is doing extremely well in in terms of food grain production, in terms of cattle production, in terms of prosperity. And he found out that it's very sudden. Virat Desh is doing suddenly very well. And he found out, these are actually the words that Duryodhan talks. He says that, Yudhishthir's pious feet must have definitely touched this place, and that's why it's doing very well. He said that. In spite of that, he was so envious. Yeah? And a lot of people, kind of accuse that, oh, you Vaishnavas, just because you're devotees of Krishna, you all deride Duryodhan. And there's so many books on Duryodhan and Karna deriding the Vaishnavas, that there was always... But this is the way they think. In spite of knowing everything, when someone does things on purpose, then they are doubly a culprit. Not just... Sometimes you could forgive someone that just by chance, just by mistake someone is doing it. But someone is doing it on purpose. Even Jan Bujke, knowing that, That's how Duryodhan was. So that's how we found out. And what did they do? They attacked this Virat Desh. First what they did is they took away the cattle. Specifically it's an agrarian country. Agrarian countries, they depend heavily on cows and bulls. That's how they don't depend on machines, they don't depend on bosses, they depend on the cattle and they depend on God for rains. Right? So it's a very natural environment. So when they took away the cattle, the king of Virat, what do you say, the king, he had to come back. But he found out that there is Bhishma there is Drona, there is Ashwathama, there is, my God, there's Kripacharya, they're like huge. And he, in fact, he was he was not in the kingdom at that time when they attacked. So Uttar Kumar, the brother of Uttara, he said that, okay, I will fight. He was a young prince. And Arjun at that time was, what is he doing? He doesn't know where he is going. So what did he do? He became a chariot driver for Uttar Kumar, and he said, fine, I'll take you. Can you imagine the mother, she must be just, what is happening? My son is going to fight these people, and then there is a eunuch as a chariot driver. Of course, she didn't know the identity. And at that time, the curse of Arjun also was ending. Since the 13th year, the whole 1 year was ending. 1 year he was cursed to become a eunuch by Urvashi. So at that time, now that's a long story, I won't tell you. I know you can see your eye raised eyebrows. Yeah. And that's how, even his thing was ending, so his, masculinity was come out. He had to come out of the kingdom, otherwise everyone would find out. Since anyway it was end of their hiding period also. So once the time ended, Arjun came out. Of course. Brihanlala. So Uttar Kumar was wondering that, and when he saw these people, all of them, just by seeing them, he fell off the chariot. And he started running backwards, and all these people started laughing. And Arjun was like, what is this guy doing now? What do I do? And he caught Uttar Kumar because he said, that Kshatriya should never show their back to the battlefield. It's extremely sinful. But this guy is still running. And Arjun was so powerful. He's got this prince and his legs are in the air. And he's kind of thinking that he's running, but it's very funny the way it's described in Mahabharata. He's running apparently, but he's seeing that he's not moving because Arjun is holding him from behind. He said, fine, you come with me. And then he takes him to a particular tree. I forgot the name of the tree. It's one, but I think it's a banyan tree or something, where he had hidden all his Gandhi, his, all his spear and lances and everything. He took it out, and then he said, Uttar Kumar, the way it's shown and the way it, could imagine that it actually, the size of it and the, the gleaming steel of it, they could make out that it belonged to a very great warrior. So Uttar Kumar told him that, kiska hai ye? So he said, well, this belonged to Arjun. He said, oh, you know where he hid it? So he didn't say anything to him. He just put everything in the chariot, and then he went ahead. Then he stood and he said, you drive the chariot and I'll fight. Uttar Kumar kind of rebuked him, Then he picked up the Gandhi and he strung it. And at that time he understood, this has to be Arjun, this cannot be anybody else. And then when he stood there, everyone else could see that it's a eunuch. And they were laughing that first it was this stupid prince who wanted to run away, and now there is this, the Virat Desh. Are you sure that, these guys are hiding there? Because first they sent this cowardly prince, and now there is a eunuch to fight us without any army. And then when he picked up his Gandhi, everyone got to know that, oh, this is Arjun. And single-handedly, you can imagine the entire Kaurava army came, the entire Kaurava army plus the whole assembly of these Maharathis was standing against a one-man show. Arjun single-handedly defeated each one of them.
But that time
Bhishma,
he wasn't scared. Like that time he didn't have those complexities in his mind, because that time also he had his relatives in front of him, right?
yeah, and actually the numbers were less compared to what it was. And now what had happened is, that was not for a kingdom, this was a rifle. They were attacking Virat Desh at that time. They were attacking innocent people. At that time he was not, because, and what he did is he didn't kill anyone. He just lit a particular, he fired a particular weapon which would put everyone off to sleep. He didn't kill anyone on that day. But because he was able to combat, so that's why it's a defeat for the Kshatriyas. They did not capture Arjun, basically. So that was a defeat. When you can't capture the other person, it's a defeat. So he couldn't capture them because he put them off to sleep. And then he collected each person's shawl. And that's a very dishonor thing for a Kshatriya, when his clothes are taken off by someone else and they can't do anything. Either the crown down or the shawl which they are wearing. They have a particular color. Each one would have a particular color. It's exceptionally worn only by them. Like Bhishma would wear only silken white, pure white. Yeah, and Drona would have a particular Brahmana shawl. So Each one of Uttar Kumar collected each once and he came back. So basically what I'm trying to point out is that Arjun had done it before. So he's not a coward here. This particular episode proves it, that he is very much capable of, with an army, of course he's much more capable of finishing them in a matter of few days. So here, why is he feeling this compassion suddenly? In fact, the first thing Krishna deals with is Arjun's compassion. That's how I put this up first, and I still can't remember what E is. I think when we come to the verses, I'll remember and I'll put it up. So we have to start the next section, where Arjun is bewildered now, and there's a turning point. The hero himself says, I don't want to kill the villain. So what is the Supreme Personality of Godhead? What is his role here? How does the Gita start? It starts with a doubt, and with Krishna clearing that doubt, starting from the very root. When we begin chapter 2, I'll be going to that root. Right? So the turning point is here, verses 31 to 46, about 15 verses we have. So as usual, our format is we go through all the verses with the translations together, and then we come back for elaboration. So verse number 31.
What have you written this compassion?
In spite of the shawl.
Yeah,
I'll
I was last time sat over there, so I thought maybe we are sitting over there.
Two options. Shut it or put this up.
Put this up.
Put this up. You tell me.
You must still be told us.
So you sit next to Sonali.
No, I'm okay if I still freeze. I'll go
Yeah.
Orange will be suffocating.
Yeah.
This explanation is only for the bewilderment.
No, this is for turning point. These are the 5 reasons. That is okay. These are the 5 reasons as to why Arjun did not want to fight. These are the 5 reasons. This is missing, I'll fill it in as soon as I get it in my head. I know. Compassion, destruction of family dynasty. E is something, fear of sins and indecisiveness. Now when you go through the verses, I'll kind of fully click. Such a dud. You could have just referred to the notes. 31st verse. Please repeat. न च श्रेयोनुपश्यामि हत्वा स्वजनमाहवे न काङ्क्षे विजयं कृष्ण न च राज्यं सुखानि च. Translation, start.
I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen.
Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. 32, 33, 34 and 35 are together. Kim no rajena govinda Kim bhoger jivetena va Yesham arthe kangshitam no Rajam bhoga sukhani cha Ta ime vastita yuddhe Pranam styaktva dhanani cha Acharyah pitarah putras Tathaiva cha pitamaha Matula swashura pautra Shalah sambandhinastatha Etan hantumichhami Natopi madhusudana अपि त्रैलोक्यराज्यस्य हेतो किं नु मही कृते निहत्य धार्तराष्ट्रान्नः का प्रीति स्यात् जनार्दन. Translation start. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all those for whom we may desire them are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, sons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives and properties and are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the three worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Papamevashrayedasman hatvaitanatatainah tasmanarha vayam hantum Dhartarashtraन् sabandhavan Swajanam hi katham hatva Sukhinah syama madhava. Translation. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sons of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of the goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? 37th and 38th together. Yadyapetena pashyanti Lobho pahata chetasaha Kulakshaya kritam dosham Mitra drohe cha patakam Katham na gneyam asmabhihi Papadasman nivartitum Kulakshaya kritam dosham Prapashyadbir janardana. Translation. O Janardan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? 39th. Kulakshaye pranashyanti Kuladharma sanatanaha Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam Adharmo bhibhavatyuta. Translation. When the destruction of dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and thus the rest of the family becomes involved in a religion. Adharmat bhibhavat Krishna Pradushyanti kulastriyaha Strishu dushta suvarshneya Jayate varna sankaraha. Translation. When irreligion is prominent in the family, O Krishna, the women of the family become polluted. And from the degradation of womanhood, O descendant of Vrishni, comes unwanted progeny. 41st. Sankaro narakayaiva kulagnanam kulasya cha patanti pitaro hesham lupta pindodaka kriyaha. Translation. An increase of unwanted population certainly causes hellish life both for the family and for those who destroy the family tradition. The ancestors of such corrupt families fall down because the performances for offering them food and water are entirely stopped. 42nd verse. Doshere te kulagnanam Varna sankara karakehe Utsadyante jati dharmaha Kula dharmascha shashvataha. Translation. By the evil deeds of those who destroy the family tradition and thus give rise to unwanted children, all kinds of community projects and family welfare activities are devastated. Translation. 43rd verse. Utsanna kula dharmanam manushyanam janardana narakam niyaktam vaso bhavatityuna shushruma. Translation. O Krishna, maintainer of the people, I have heard by disciplic succession that those whose family traditions are destroyed dwell always in hell. 44. Aho bata mahat papam kartum vyavasita vayam yadraja sukhalobhena hantum svajanam udyataha. Translation. How strange it is that we are preparing to commit great sinful acts, driven by the desire to enjoy royal happiness. We are intent on killing our own kinsmen. 45th. Yadi mama pratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dhartarashtrarane hanyus tanme kshemataram bhave. Translation. Better for me if the sons of Dhritarashtra, weapons in hand, were to kill me unharmed and unresisting on the battlefield. Last verse. Sanjaya uvacha eva muktvarjuna sankhe ratopasta upavishat visrijya sasharam chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. Translation. Start. Sanjaya Vacha. Sanjay said, Arjuna, having thus spoke on the battlefield, cast aside his bow and arrows and sat down on the chariot, his mind overwhelmed with grief. So, we understand what's the turning point now? When the hero keeps aside his gun. Or the hero says, I don't want to kill the villains. Not quite like the Hindi movie. After interval, the hero takes revenge. Here the hero doesn't want to take revenge. He says, I don't want to fight because of 5 reasons. There are various verses between 31 to 46, but basically all of them fall under these 5 categories. Right? Number 1.
You got the E.
Huh?
You got the E.
I got the I told you when I come to the verse, I know what it is. So I quietly wrote it down. First one is compassion. Number 2, destruction of family dynasty. When we went through the translation, you kind of got the gist of it. Number 3 is enjoyment. He says, who will we enjoy it with when everyone is dead? Right? Everything is tainted with their blood. We'll not be able to see it nicely. 4th one is the fear of sins. And the 5th is not sure. Should I fight or should I just let them kill me? That's kind of the last verse that he speaks. Right? Indecisiveness. So all these. Yeah. Now each verse, when it pertains to a particular point, I'll put down that verse in front of it. Yeah? So we'll know which section it belongs to. Right. So we start again with verse number 31. Nacha shreyonupashyami 31st Hatva svajanamahave Nakangshe vijayam Krishna Nacharajam sukhani cha Translation. I do not see how any good can come from killing my own kinsmen in this battle. Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or happiness. So where does this shloka fit? I don't know what good can come here. Generally, when we do a particular activity, we know it is beneficial for us. Especially when you put a lot of effort over some things, there has to be some profit to it. Yeah? You just don't do something, when you have a venture, suppose say a business venture, when you invested like huge money in it. Why? Obviously there is some research department done, there has to be some return to it. Now Arjun is saying, we're playing so much here, it's a huge gamble, there are so many people lined up here, all of them being my own relatives, yeah, and what are they doing? Can I see any good? Even if I get the entire kingdom, will I be happy? Right? Why am I doing this? A lot of times, even in our daily schedule, when we do everything, and then even when we don't get back returns, we don't get appreciation, we don't get our due, we don't get, especially as mothers, it's like a thankless job. And then you think, why the hell am I doing so much? Yeah, why do you even bother so much? Why do you even care so much? Why do I even do so much? कुछ appreciation ही नहीं है. If it doesn't make any difference of me being there or not being there, then why do I do anything? Does this question come in your head? The same question is in Arjun's head. Just the circumstances are different, but the story is the same, or rather the moral is the same. Right? Arjun is saying that even if I kill all these people, I know I'm not going to be happy. It's going to be with a heavy heart. Why do I do it? He says, Krishna, desire any, nor can I, what does he say? Can any good come from killing my kinsmen in this battle? Nor can I, my dear Krishna, desire any subsequent victory, kingdom or... Basically, any attempt we do is for happiness. And if I'm not getting, even after so much endeavor, if I'm not going to get happiness, is it worth it? Is the question of Arjun. So the first thing is indecisive. He is not very sure why particularly I am playing this role today. Why is this whole thing in my destiny? Why is this chalked out for me? 32 to 35. Then he constantly goes on and on. Sometimes when you just want to pour out, you just go on and on and on. So 32, 33, 34, 35, we'll take it together. Kim no rajena govinda Kim bhoge jivitena va Yesham arthe kangshitam no Rajam bhoga sukhani cha Ta ime vasthita yuddhe Pranam Pranam styaktva dhanani cha. Acharya pitarah putras. Tathaiva cha pitamahah. Matulah svashurah pautrah. Shalah sambandhinastatha. Etan hantumicchami. Natopi madhusudana. Api trailokya rajasya. Heto kimnu mahikrite. Nihatya dhartarashtrannah. Ka priti sya janardana. Now before we read the translation, we have to fit it somewhere here. So just keep that in mind and we'll read now. Start. O Govinda, of what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself, when all of those for whom we desire are now arrayed on this battlefield? O Madhusudan, when teachers, fathers, grandsons, grandfathers, maternal uncles, fathers-in-law, grandsons, brothers-in-law, and other relatives are ready to give up their lives, properties, are standing before me, why should I wish to kill them, even though they might otherwise kill me? O maintainer of all living entities, I am not prepared to fight with them, even in exchange for the 3 worlds, let alone this earth. What pleasure will we derive from killing the sons of Dhritarashtra? Killing the sins of Dhritarashtra. Literally, sins of Dhritarashtra only. The sons of Dhritarashtra. So where do we fit this? It can be more than one. Yeah, he specifically speaks about enjoyment. Specifically. This little bit, yeah. And then he's basically little bit here also. I'll write that whole chunk, 2 to 35. Nah? It fits little bit here. Does it fit enjoyment? Yes. He specifically talks about enjoyment. Anywhere else? Done? Correct. So basically what is he speaking? In the previous shloka, in the 31st shloka, I forgot to mention, there's one nice analogy Prabhupada writes. He writes about a lady at home. He says that a person who does not feel hunger is not inclined to cook. Sometimes when you're alone at home, you feel, kya banane ka? It's okay, whatever is just, I'll just manage somehow. Right? If you're alone at home, and if this is inclination to cook, it means if your family is home and there are guests coming, then there's an inclination to cook. If there's hunger, there's inclination to cook. If there's no hunger, there's no inclination. If there's chaturmas, there's no inclination to cook. You're off it. There's no the inclination to cook. So basically he's saying that Arjun, he's seeing these are my own people, what to fight against them. Yeah? And then in the next verse says, even if they want to kill me, it's okay, but I don't want to kill them. Right? And he says, what avail to us are a kingdom, happiness, or even life itself? He says that what is the meaning of my life? Yeah? If I don't have these people with me. A lot of times you feel that I live for my family. Yeah? Our life is defined by the roles that we are playing today. We will speak about the lost identity later. But right now, everything that we have in our life is what defines us a lot of times. And Arjun is saying that now I'm going to kill them, then what do I do with this entire kingdom? When my children will be dead, when their children will be dead. It's when you have a big mansion, who's that? Louis? King Louis? Is it his name? In Europe? He's got one of those palaces, his mansions are open and they had about, only 300 rooms are open. Others are shut. Only 300 rooms are open for as a museum. And it's
palaces in Europe are like that.
yeah. And from the balconies to wherever your vision could go, the horizon it's like his. It's huge. And if he doesn't have anyone to stay with him, it's going to be like the whole kingdom comes to eat you up. It's very lonely. You need to have a huge family, and it's quite weird. I'm diverting. None of them have a bathroom. None of them have a bathroom. That's the point where perfumes were introduced. Who would even stay in that? Anyway, he had many wives also. 36 was Papamevashrayedasman Hatvaitanatatainah Tasmanarha vayam hantum Dhartarashtran sabandhavan Svajanam hi katham hatva Sukhinah syama madhava. Translation start. Sin will overcome us if we slay such aggressors. Therefore, it is not proper for us to kill the sins of Dhritarashtra and our friends. What should we gain, O Krishna, husband of goddess of fortune? And how could we be happy by killing our own kinsmen? Yeah. So here, there's fear of sins clearly. Which verse is this? 36? 36. Yeah. He speaks about a particular, the first word of the shloka. Can you read? What is that? Papamevashrayedasman. And there is a word he says, Hatvaitan atatai. Who's an atatai? Atatai is a aggressor or a criminal. Basically, in the Manu Samhita, there are 6 kinds of aggressors or the 6 kinds of criminals whom if you kill, you do not get any sinful reaction. Who are those people? We'll see in the purport there. The 6 kinds are listed there. According to Vedic injunctions, there are 6 kinds of aggressors. Number 1, can you read that in the purport? The second line? A poison giver. Number 2, one who sets fire to the house. Number 3, one who attacks. Has everyone found it?
Yeah.
Pooja? No? In the purport. Just on the top. Number 1, a poison giver. Number 2, one who sets fire to the house. Number 3, one who attacks with deadly weapons. Number 4, one who plunders riches. 5, one who occupies another's land. And the last is 6, one who kidnaps a wife. I'm reading ahead. Such aggressors are at once to be killed, and no sin is incurred by killing such aggressors. Such killing of aggressors is quite befitting any ordinary man, but Arjun was not an ordinary person. Okay, we'll come to that second point later. First point is, if you kill such a person who's engaged in such 6 activities, you do not get any bad karma or any sinful reaction. So such people are epitomes of enviousness, and they're not functional in a proper society. Such kind of people. So the king should immediately behead such criminals. And if you see the history of Mahabharata, apparently Duryodhana and his group fits in each one of these. You see, a poison giver, does he fit? Yes, when Bhim was very young, Duryodhana, what did he do? He mixed poison in his kheer. A poison which could kill elephants. And it's quite funny, that poison started acting on Bhim only in the evening, after eating in the morning, because he was so strong. Can you imagine that baby? He's like so strong. It started coming to him only in the evening. So he was also a poison giver. Number 1, I'll come to your point. Number 2, one who sets fire to that house. That's also done. When Dhritarashtra, in fact, he sent the Pandavas, the 5 Pandavas, and Kunti, the mother, to a Lakshagraha. In fact, they were sent for just like a recreation, just for a vacation house, which was made cement mixed with wax, so that it was flammable material, right? So it was, it was a whole conspiracy. If it was not for Vidur, Pandavas and Kunti would have died in that house made of wax, right? So Lakshagraha it is called. So there again he fits in the second category also. Number 3, one who attacks with deadly weapons. When they were in Virat Desh, they tried to attack without any intimation. So that number 3. Number 4, one who plunders riches, of course, with that gambling match where the dice was made out of Shakuni's bones. It was black magic, and they took away everything, right? So 4 maybe, plunders riches, occupies another's land. They were supposed to give back after 13 years. He said, I will not even give you land through which you can drive a pin through. This was Duryodhana's words. So land also is taken away. The 6th one, who kidnaps a wife. When did they kidnap a wife? Do you remember? Anyone knows? You know Dushala? Dushala is the sister of the 100 brothers. Yeah. Her husband was Jayadratha. Jayadratha kidnapped Draupadi once during the 12 years of exile. He tried to kidnap, of course he almost took her to along, and then Pandavas caught up, defeated him, and because it was their own sister's husband, what did they do? They cut off half his moustache and shaved half of his head and sent him back. Because that was very dishonoring. It was as good as death for Jayadratha. So even they fit in the 6th category too. All these, imagine one category if you fit, you're supposed to be beheaded. Imagine, Arjun and his party were tolerating so much throughout these years, and now he says, if we kill such aggressors, we will get sin. Whereas the Vedic injunctions say that you will not get sin. Why? He says, because they are my relatives. If there's something called justice, there's something called compassion. Now, compassion is a higher principle than justice. This is what Arjuna is saying. And we should forgive these people and let them go. And because they are my own relatives, if I kill them, if I, shed blood of my own community, it is sinful. This is what he says. And that's why he doesn't want to fight. Your point?
My point is that somewhere later on in Bhagavad Gita he says that how can you be responsible for, how can you be a judge to somebody's good and bad deeds?
So right now he is just discussing Arjun's predicament, or Arjun's dilemma. What Krishna answers is 17 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Now those are all, basically we're going through this in much detail. You might think that we're wasting time, Krishna has not started the Gita yet, but basically if we don't get the questions, we'll not get the answers. Yeah? Because every point of time we'll have these questions in our head. When we're judging for someone else, or we're trying, someone is subordinate, tomorrow we have to solve a certain issue, we'll say that, just forgive them. Maybe for us it'll be very easy, but what that person is going through in their heart is what we need to know. Yeah? So if you have to be a perfect judge, you have to understand the question and then understand the Gita. Yeah. So you're right. Because for me, what is good may be bad for you. Maybe what is good for you may be bad for me. In fact, this is how the whole universe is working. One man's food is another man's poison. How do we judge who is right and who is wrong?
At what point do we forgive and at what point we
Exactly.
don't? Where do we?
Tomorrow we might say that the sun is, impartial because it gives sunlight to a good person and to a thief also. How do we judge his
So that's
things,
why we are not a judgment. That's what
Exactly.
Krishna says later.
Yeah, later on he says it, but here we'll see what Arjun has to say. Right, so all these points are there. We still not covered a few ones. So we'll go to verse 37th and 38th. What time is it? Because I don't. 12:15. 12:15. And we have. Let's see. I was thinking of finishing chapter 1 before going for the break. Let's see. I won't push. He's coming? Yeah. Because I can't send phone. Outgoing services are shut, I told you.
There's no class next week.
Now next week we're taking a break for Diwali. A week after that I'll give you a SMS as to what exactly is happening, because Prabhuji said we'll do a combined class. That was one of the suggestions, no? We'll let you all know.
I was going to ask you, this is the first class? I mean, or the new class? I don't know.
This is a new class. This is just chapter 1, yeah. We finished 3 turns yet.
Because I missed out the first turn, so I'm not aware where I am. I just come and attend.
Yeah. No. We finished 3 turns already. This is the 3rd turn. According to this also is supposed. Because last class, it was supposed to be the 4th turn. So we should have finished. Last class I was not there. So this is the 3rd turn, technically.
What's a combined class?
Combined class, I have classes on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So, since I'll be traveling for 2 weeks. So next week is obviously enough because it's a Diwali week and everyone will be busy. The week after that, I can give you all dates if you can just check if someone has a calendar.
Yes.
Yeah.
14th is a Thursday. And then
14th is enough for sure.
22nd.
22nd? Yeah. Calculate it. I'm lazy to calculate. 22nd? Something like that. So that week we might have, that week that I'm talking about a week, I'm not talking about a day. That week I'll send you all an SMS as to when the class will be there.
So next week 15th we won't have.
Definitely. 14th.
It's 15th.
15. Today's the
15th.
22nd, you'll be having a because I'm not there 22nd. So.
We'll have a combined class, maybe on a Wednesday or something like that. Mostly on a Wednesday.
Wednesday is 21st.
What's on 21st?
Wednesday is 21st, no?
Yeah.
Something on 21st?
not Wednesday.
Not Wednesday.
We'll see. Maybe we'll have 2 classes then in the entire week. Instead of 4, we'll have cut down into half. Yeah, cut down into half.
But then how can we have combined classes? Like, they'll be somewhere, we'll be somewhere. That's all.
No, we'll do a different topic, or maybe a generic topic. We just don't want to break the association. You know.
So that Monday to that 4th days you're having a class, you're doing different chapters.
Sorry? Yeah.
All different chapters.
Different chapters, different syllabus.
Oh, different syllabus.
Details. There she's sitting. Catch the culprit. You'll get the details there. 39th was?
37.
37th, sorry. यद्यपेतेन पश्यन्ति लोभोपहत चेतसः कुलक्षय कृतं दोषम् मित्रद्रोहे च पातकम् कथं न ज्ञेयमस्माभिः पापादस्मान्निवर्तितुम् कुलक्षय कृतं दोषम् प्रपश्यद्भिर्जनार्दन. Translation: O Janardan, although these men, their hearts overtaken by greed, see no fault in killing one's family or quarreling with friends, why should we, who can see the crime in destroying a family, engage in these acts of sin? So what is he talking about here? He's talking about the evil consequences that are there. He says that all these people, what is their motivation? It's greed. I don't want to be motivated by the same thing. He says they see no fault just because, it's like you jump in the well, so I also jump in the well. If they are overtaken by greed, I don't want to have the same inclination. I don't want to have to carry that same greed and then fight with them. Yeah. So here he is saying, oh Janardan, what is meaning of Janardan? Krishna, yeah. Thank you. Janardan, the meaning of Jana is the general people. Ardan is one who maintains them. He is saying that you are a maintainer of living entities, and here we are discussing about killing them. It's quite an irony. So that's why he's reminding Krishna that, he's supposed to maintain people and not kill them. So he says, why are you pushing me towards this battlefield? He says, oh Janardan, although these men are overtaken by greed, their motivation is greed, I don't want to follow the same thing because I'm scared about the sins. You say that engage in these acts of sin, and they are destroying an entire family here. Correct? So a little bit of this section, destroying 30, what is this? 30? 37th and 38th.
Also fear of sin.
Fear of sins also. He is very clear about the sinful aspect of it. says, I don't want to be greedy. And right now, his thought flow is that I'm doing this for a kingdom. Because I did the 13 years of exile that we were supposed to. We came back, they're not giving us a kingdom. I'm a Kshatriya, I'm supposed to rule. They even ask for 5 villages, which is actually very tiny. Basically, here we're talking about Earth planet. We're not talking about only the India, right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, that tiny thing on the globe. We're talking about the entire planet here. So instead of getting the entire planet back that they were rulers of, they were asking for only 5 villages, which is very tiny. And even that Duryodhan was not ready to give. So Arjun's predicament is, he's thinking that right now I'm fighting this whole war for a kingdom. Yeah, so I don't want the kingdom, it's okay. So what will I do if I don't take a kingdom? He discusses that later. 39th. Kulakshay pranashyanti Kuladharma sanatanaha Dharme nashte kulam kritsnam Adharmo bhibhavatyuta. Translation. With the destruction of the dynasty, the eternal family tradition is vanquished, and then the rest of the family becomes involved in irreligion. Now, I don't want to start this topic because the next 3 verses are the same. It's this part, destruction of family dynasty. He talks about how when the elder members in the family, they are there. What happens when the elder members in the family are there? They guide us in everything. Every tradition, how it is supposed to be performed. Now suppose every child who is born is supposed to go through 12 sanskars. Beginning from before the conception of the child. That means even before when the parents get married. And then they think of raising a child or think of getting a child. That's when the first sanskar begins. I'm not talking about the 7th month ceremony, I'm talking even before the mother conceives the child. Even that thought, they're supposed to do, a whole sanskar process and then, embark on the procedure. And then after she conceives again, there is a 5th month thing, and then there's a 7th month thing, and then after the child is born, the name giving sanskar and, the different things. Total it comes to 12, till the end, the 13th day. That's when it ends. So all these things, how do we know? Unless there are elder members in the family. They are the ones who guide. Right? So with the destruction of dynasty, what will happen? That entire elder members of the family will be wiped out. Because all of them, now here he is talking about all the warriors, all the Kshatriyas on the earth. All of them are on the battlefield that day. There was only one person who was neutral. Do you remember who? Vidur was not even neutral. He didn't want to be a part of the whole thing. He left even before the war began. So technically he was not even there. Bhishma was there one side. He was clearly on one side. Clearly killing Pandavas.
But let's say Bhishma also, he wanted to be with the Pandavas, but he was doing his duty by staying in the battlefield.
Yes.
So
I'm saying who was not there on the battlefield in spite of being a Kshatriya? Yudhishthira was there. We had Yudhishthira blew his conch shell. Think hard. There was one Kshatriya who was not there. Famous fellow. Dhritarashtra was lying. Couldn't be there anymore. You were killed on the first day. Sanjay?
No, Sanjay was not there.
Sanjay was there for 10 days. Then he was sent to Dhritarashtra. Think and come back. After vacation?
Yes.
Think and come back. Who was not there? Socho. I won't let you go out.
That's a homework?
No. Classwork.
I thought you said think and come back, so I thought maybe it's a homework.
Think and come back in 5 minutes. Your Diwali won't go well otherwise. You keep thinking, who was it?
I got forget about Diwali one day.
Well, before we start chanting, I'll tell you all. Otherwise, the whole chanting thing will be done. Who was the warrior who said, I don't want to fight in any department? I'll give you a clue. He went for a Tirth Yatra. It was Balram. He said, I don't want to fight. I can't take sides.
Then he already said that I don't want to fight. So
He said, I don't want to fight. In spite of being a Kshatriya, he didn't fight. So we do one tiny round. We have 5 minutes for 12:30. We'll stop at this. What verse did we stop?
39.
Because I'm coming, I have to remember. No?
We have not put for the 39th.
So we stop at 38.